YouTube. Today I want to talk about cell warriors, what we call them in Missouri, and those who act like they want to fight but don't. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell, like and share. Okay, let's talk about this. In the hole, you will have people that normally wouldn't say anything to you, except, in a bad way, they wouldn't say anything to you. But in the hole, outside the hole, they wouldn't say anything bad, but in the hole, they talk all kinds of crap, call you this and that, say they'll beat your ass. Those are the ones that bother me the worst, that I don't like the most. Not the lames or the soft people, It's those who talk shit and then don't back it up. I even had one guy in the hole. After he got out of the hole and I said something to him about it, he said that wasn't him, that was his celly. Because usually in Missouri there's two types of hole. There's ones where you can have a celly, and then there's other ones where it's a single man. And but I know it wasn't his celly. I know it was him because I could see him. Excuse me. But I'm going to start at Bowling Green, where they had this juvenile place that was kind of separate from the general population. And juveniles had to be escorted to medical and in different places. So if you're a juvenile and you're going to prison, which I hope you're not going to prison, do not be talking shit, because I'm going to show you how it backfires. They would, when they was being escorted, they had guards around them, and they'd talk all kinds of crap, call you names and stuff. And in the hole, they would knock on the window, and if you look, they'd expose themselves, and they thought it was funny. Until they became adult and got put in population. And then they're just talking all this, they're backpedaling. Oh, I'm sorry, I was just joking. Well, I tell you what, some people don't take being called a bitch as a joke. Not in prison. Some of them got hurt real bad. Some of them just got smacked around a little bit. So if you're a juvenile, be careful what you say. If you're in one of those type of camps that got a juvenile section set off to the side. There's some guys that won't beat you up. You call them a name like that and they're going to stick you. Period. They're not getting out. Anyway, moving on. It's not just the cell warriors. One of the funniest things to me was seeing two people who didn't want to fight one another. We called it one's afraid to fight, the other one's glad of it. And even when they did get to fighting, they really weren't fighting. They was just like wrestling and rolling around, hugging one another. Things like that. At the walls, and this is the only place I've heard this saying, is if somebody was afraid to fight, then their heart pumped Kool-Aid. I haven't heard that since. But one that's kind of taken its place is he's soft as medicated cotton. I've seen soft people fight. You know, and I'll tell you a story, and it's funny. It's still funny to me, and it shouldn't be funny. It used to be if I knew somebody was all talk, and they come up and they talk about I need to have my ass whooped or something like that. They're just talking, you know. I'd run my finger across my lip, look at my finger, and say my lip's not bleeding. One time I was hanging out with some of my workout partners, people I cooked up with and stuff. And this guy comes, he hasn't been in prison very long. He comes up, and I don't know what I did to piss him off or offend him or whatever. I still haven't found out really to this day, because he hasn't really elaborated on it. But he says, Harvey, you need to have your ass whooped. There's nothing but air and opportunity, you know. That's what I'm thinking. So, once again, my lip's not bleeding. Well, he swings on me, hits me, and says, it is now. And down we go. Fighting, you know, and I get to laughing. I can't tell you why. It wasn't really funny, you know. So we go to the hole, and they put him in a different wing, so I really couldn't talk to him, find out what this was all about. I get out, and all my partners come up to me and they say, hey, you know, they never did let me live this down. They were laughing and saying, you let this guy whoop you, you know. And the worst thing about it is you thought it was funny. And pretty soon here comes that young guy, and he goes, hey, is this over with? I said, I don't even know what it's about. But, you know, you tell me what it's about, and I'll let you know if it's over with or not. He said, I overheard you talking to somebody else about me. I said, I think you're mistaken, because I said, I'm not going to say anything to anybody else I wouldn't say to your face. In fact, I'm going to tell you first. If it's between me and you, I'm going to tell you. Why does everybody else got to know about it? He says, well, you did, you know. I said, whatever. I said, is it? So it's something I said, supposedly said. He said, yes. I said, okay. I said, I guess it's over with. I said, do you mind tell me what it was I supposedly said? He really wouldn't go into it. Never could understand that. But there's two lessons I took from that. One, don't underestimate people. You know, this guy came up, he told me, he said, I was afraid. And he said, but I felt I had to say this to you. And he said, the only reason I swung on you is because of what you said. He said, I felt if I didn't, people would think that, you know, I let you just talk anyway to me. He said, so I was afraid, but I swung anyway, you know. And he goes, I'm not a fighter. He said, I couldn't understand why you was laughing. That just made me mad, you know, more mad. But that goes to tell you that, you know, just because you think somebody's soft doesn't mean they're not going to fight if they feel they have to. And, you know, you just don't know. I underestimated him. And, you know, because I didn't think he was going to do anything. And in any other situation, he probably wouldn't have But because I said what I said, he felt he had to do something. Then you have these people that just always, they're trying to intimidate you. They'll say, no, who's this? They'll say things like, you better check my record. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know. So watching these people fight or trying to intimidate people, you know, by saying things like that, or rolling around on the ground just wrestling, you know, not really fighting, or coming up, hitting somebody in front of the cops, you know, the guards, 5-0, whatever you want to call them. They're the guards. They're the police of the prisons. And that's usually a check-in move. You know, check in, you know, go to PC. And there could be any number of reasons. Maybe they owe somebody. Maybe they're in debt. Maybe they're scared. So they run up and hit you right in front of the guards, you know. Or where guards are nearby. They'll do it like in med lines, chow halls, or wherever you have to pass guards at. That's usually where they do it. So the cell warriors, I think in some places they're called window warriors, they piss me off more than the soft people, so-called soft people, lames, whatever, because they talk shit and then don't back it up. The soft people, I ain't trying to put them down, but they're trying to stay out of trouble. You know, that's their thing. And there's dangerous people in prison that are quiet too and try to stay out of trouble, but they won't be disrespected, and they carry themselves different than the ones who are soft. They, you know, they walk a different way, they talk a different way. You know who they are. But you know, and it really gets me too that now that we're on about the soft people and the weak people, you have people that prey on these people, try to punk them out, try to intimidate them into, you know, being their boy, and at the same time go around spouting off how they hate sex offenders. What a contradiction. I just don't understand it. But that's a little off the subject there, and I apologize for that. But you have these different people that won't do anything, you know. I mean, if you challenge them, you know, they're talking shit, and as soon as you challenge them, they back down, you know, as soon as you approach them. If you say, let's go in the cell, handle this, then, oh man, you know, let's talk about this. Let's go over here where the cops can't see us. They don't want to do that, but as long as they're out in the open, just talk. And then they have the nerve to turn around and prey on the weak. So that's about all I have for you today. And hope you enjoyed it, especially at my expense, I should say, on the one story. And see you next time. Thank you.